Let's start the class. Okay. So we are also going to discuss a couple of questions today. In our last class, we did the same thing. So I think you have understood the major point of view of writing Paradise Lost. But the thing is that in your next class, we are going to discuss the summary and the theme of Paradise Lost, and if possible, I'm going to discuss symbols and motif of Paradise Lost. And if possible, definitely I'm going to talk about, in short, about other books, so that you may understand. And if you're interested, you can read the summary from internet or from any other book or any other source. And after that, if you feel you are interested, you can read the whole book. And it would be, sometimes I do find, especially to the student of English literature, they are too much tend to know antonyms, synonyms, and the word meaning, these types of things. But if you read just the whole Paradise Lost, you are going to learn more than 5,000 words. More than 5,000 words. Only one book can give you 5,000 words. And if you can somehow memorize more than 3,000 words, you don't need to memorize or follow any other book. So my suggestion would be to read the whole Paradise Lost, and if possible, definitely you are going to read Charles Dickens or other, or James Joyce. When you are going to read them, you are not going to feel any trouble, especially for not understanding the meaning of word, because you have read Paradise Lost and your vocabulary is massive. And when you are going to read Shakespeare, you are going to be benefited as well, because this is 17th century English, and this is very much contemporary with William Shakespeare. So it is very much understandable if you read Paradise Lost. If you read Paradise Lost, definitely we are going to enrich our vocabulary. Okay, my first question is that, what is Milton's main purpose or theme of his epic poem? This types of question usually we do see coming frequently in the exam. What is the main purpose or theme of his poem? Definitely you are going to write it with your own, the way you understand, but you are going to quote some lines from Paradise Lost. This is the quote. To the height of this great argument, I may assert eternal providence. I told you, I have read this line for you while talking about invocation to the muses. Providence means law, I told you, and justify the ways of God to men. That means how did God justify, or how did God treat human being? This is the way of, this is the main purpose and theme of his epic poem. And definitely we are going to write some other lines, and here those things are written here. I'm not going to read it, you would read it later on. And I have given the reference. This is not my word, I have given you the reference, you would understand. So the thing is that I told you about the quality of monotheistic God, as far as I can remember, that omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. I have here the Samuel Fallon also talked about it, as I talked about it earlier, and this is one of the major conditions to be monotheistic God. So this is justify the ways of God to men. This is not the God of, this is not pagan God, this is the not pre-Christian God, but this is omnipotent, or this is monotheistic God. And the God is definitely Miltonic. Never think in this way, this God is biblical. Rather think in this way, the God is Miltonic. So you would understand, when you are going to be asked these types of question, or what is the purpose, what is the purpose or theme of each epic poem, definitely you are going to say this word, justify the ways of God to man. And if somehow you can remember these 3 lines, that is well, and give these types of reference and the line number so that all may understand when you are going to face viva. Definitely you are going to be asked these types of question. Usually the students of English literature are asked from William Shakespeare. Then if they ask the second question, definitely they are going to ask question from John Milton. Especially the senior teachers would like to ask you these types of question from classic or classical literature, so that they may understand you have read well. They hardly ask you question from modern literature, rather they lingered with classic and old literature, and that's why it is very much important for us as well to get better job to understand John Milton and along with William Shakespeare as well. This is the first question. And the second question we are going to discuss, what is the setting of the opening scene of the poem? Okay, definitely I told you when they are talking with John Milton was addressing muse. Definitely he was talking with them, talking about hell, and he asked lots of questions. I discussed those things in my earlier classes, but I'm going to redefine it again. I redefine it, and the thing is that with hideous ruin and combustion down to the bottomless perdition, there to dwell in adamantine chains of penal fire. So this is hell. The opening scene of John Milton is hell. One thing you must remember, this portion is not for children. So this is 18 plus. When you are mature, definitely we are going to discuss these things to be discussed. Never discuss the idea of hell in front of the students so that they be afraid, or they feel fear of thinking about the great fire of hell. So the thing is that you have to understand that text starts with hell. So the text asserts that the text is mature, not for the children. This is a mature text, and when we are going to read other literature, they do not start so seriously. They do not start seriously, but rather their starting is very much lucid, and it is understandable for all. Hello, can you hear me? This line is too much.
Yes, sir.
The internet line is very weak. Okay, so the text starts with hell, and you have to understand this is a serious text. Then we are going to discuss. We're going to see the picture of hell and heaven, the design of Paradise Lost. In my classes, I definitely talked about these types of things. That what was the design of Milton's Paradise Lost, and the critic usually think that Paradise Lost, the graph or the map of hell and heaven in Paradise Lost is like this. Here it is chaos, here it is universe, and here is heaven. That means all the fallen angels dropped from here. All the fallen angels dropped from here to the bottom pit of hell. So between hell and heaven there is a big universe and a big chaos. So where did John Milton learn these types of thing? And you have to understand, up to John Milton, as John Milton is the contemporary of Sir Isaac Newton, and it was a good age of science. Despite John Milton was too much ardent lover of Ptolemy, and he's an astrologer Ptolemy, and he had read Ptolemy. And I told you repeatedly, John Milton is the wisest of all English poets, and he is the most read poet of English literature. And the thing is that you have to understand, that's why he knew about Ptolemy, and he designed the whole point of view of mapping Paradise Lost like this. Okay. Another thing is that in book one, I, I do find someone's audio is on. Please mute your all audio. I may not, or I do not want to. Okay, be interrupted like this. Okay, John Milton's description of hell. Another. Look at this picture in book one. We are going to find at the end they would build a pandemonium. Later, I am going to discuss pandemonium. It is going to be the capital of Satan, and he would think that they have to take revenge, and that's why this is the course of Satan. That means Satan through hell, and he would travel through the cosmos and the chaos and enter into the heaven here to whisper into the ear of Eve, so that they may eat the forbidden fruit or something like that. Okay, so we are going to discuss question number 3. Who is the next command to archangel Satan? I have discussed it earlier, but I want to talk about it a little bit more. So you are going to put this line. This is Beelzebub, definitely, but you would not write on answer like this way. The Beelzebub is the next command to archangel. Rather, if it would be fair enough if you can somehow memorize these lines. One next in history in power and next in crime, long after known in Palestine, and named Beelzebub. These types of things would give you more confidence to understand Paradise Lost. Okay, so what is Satan's attitude in the beginning of the poem? So Satan's I told you, Satan was overconfident, was very arrogant. Another thing is that he did not want to bend, or he did not want to bow the God, and definitely he believed this God is not actually the righteous one. Rather, he cannot rule the universe, and Satan believed that he can rule better than God, and that's why he rebelled against God. And that is the attitude of Satan. And attitude, Satan's another attitude is revengeful, and he thought that for 9 days, I told you in my last class, it took 9 days from to fall from heaven to hell. It took 9 days and nights to fall from heaven to hell. Look at the graph. And within 9 days, they believed that they cannot defeat God. But suddenly, when he was in hell, and definitely he could see nothing except darkness, despite he lost everything. Despite he believed he didn't lose his courage, or unconquerable will, or the immortal hate. These types of things. This is a great quality of a true leader who wants to talk against against establishment, and this is the opposite force of establishment. So Satan is the spokesman of anti-establishment. I talked about this thing in my last class in details. Okay, if you have any problem, check those YouTube video and you would understand. So in what way does Milton's enumeration of his fallen angels resemble to Homer's epics? Enumeration means list. Of fallen angels resembles to. So another term we are going to learn today, that is epic catalog. If anyone asks you what is epic catalog, so you are going to discuss the list of people, thing, or attributes. When an epic starts, it is, as epic is very grand, it discusses many people. In Homer, we are going to get 900 characters. So it's not funny to remember 900 characters. So that's why it takes a huge length to discuss. And for this reason, actually, John Milton did one thing. He also followed his earlier master like Homer or Iliad. And I tell you, John Milton is not the ardent lover of Homer. Rather, he was an ardent lover or worshipper of Virgil, the way Michael Madhusudan Dutt was. Because Homer's Iliad and Odyssey is not it's an oral epic, and people usually do not believe this is an authentic one. That's why they usually follow secondary epic, which is written by single person or single-handedly, and that's why their earlier master is Virgil, the author of Aeneid. So here we are going to get one thing that it resembles when Homer's Iliad starts. It talks about the catalog of ships, lots of ships, because it talks about lots of ships because it starts with 1,000 ships. It starts with 1,000 ships because they are going to rescue or going to take Helen back to Menelaus again. That's why it was very urgent to discuss about ships, and the idea was great, and that's why they are talking about Agamemnon, Achilles, Menelaus, or Odysseus himself. And in Odyssey, we also get these types of catalog. And in the Nequia, the pronunciation Nequia, book 11. Okay, you would read these things so that you may compare with other ideas with John Milton's Paradise Lost. Number 6, who leads the fallen angels to dig for gold in hell? Mammon led on. This is the line from 678. But Mammon, I didn't talk about Mammon because when I discussed about fallen angels, definitely I talked about the major fallen angels, and I didn't put too much attention on Mammon. This name is closely associated with the Greek one Agamemnon, some say, but it is in Egyptian time or in Indian mythology. Usually we do find a character like Kuber or Mammon. That means those who are gold digger and those who are too much greedy to protect gold. This is one of the lesser fallen angels in Paradise Lost, the least erected spirit that fell from heaven. Here, this is acquisition, and John Milton didn't put too much attention on Memnon. That's why I didn't discuss it earlier, but I believe it is a little bit necessary to discuss here. And so, who leads the fallen angels to dig for gold in hell? And as they are fallen angel, when they become fallen, they become demon. But earlier they were good angels or angels of heaven, and that's why they lived inside bounty, in the midst of gold, in the midst of gems, happiness or happy dwelling. So Mammon is such a greedy person, and he began to believe no matter what, we are in hell, but we would dig hell if somehow we can find gold. That is the thing. That is something with the story with Mammon. In Bengali we say dheki swarge geleo dhan bhane. Dheki swarge geleo dhan bhane. That means you are not going to change your nature. Black will not take other hue, so you are not going to change your color. So Mammon was greedy in hell, in heaven, and when he was in hell, definitely he is greedy. You are going to read these lines and read the last line. And digged out ribs of gold, and he encouraged other fallen angels. So they help him dig gold. Okay, so this is the picture of Mammon. In Bengali we usually say Kuber, or sometimes we do find in Bangla newspaper Takar Kumir. Those who are too much greedy person, they are called Mammon. This is the synonym of Mammon in Greek culture is Pluto, not Plato, Pluto. Try to understand, Pluto. Pluto. And those who are rich with money and power, they are called plutocrat, or their idea of developing or taking money is plutocracy. So we usually say Mammon is plutocrat. That means those who are moneyed men, definitely they are powerful, and this name is too much associated with Bible or biblical knowledge, as John Milton have taken huge references from other texts. That's why this is very much relevant to discuss some lines from Bible. And if you want, and it is here, it is written greed and the gospel. That means this is the gospel of greed and mammon, usually inside us. So if you want to take the word symbolically, every man is mammon. So when they are in hell, it doesn't mean mammon is some metaphoric character. Yes, it's true, but the thing is that every man is mammon, because everyone desires to be powerful like mammon, with money and gold. So this is usually I want to discuss, because here, though it is a lesser angel, John Milton put it in front of us so that we may see the inner part of us, that mammon is definitely a gold digger, but everyone is digging gold. Even all are trying to gather gold, but except gathering knowledge, they are gathering gold. That is the symbolical meaning of mammon here, and you would read it and definitely would understand. Okay, so we are going to discuss question number 7. If you have any question up to this, you may ask. If you have any question, you may ask. Up to we have discussed 6 questions, and we are going to discuss 4 more questions. So before we end, I want to know if you have any question. You may write it in your chat box, or you may ask in your audio. I give you 30 seconds to think. If you have any question, let me know.
Sir, I don't understand what is mammon actually.
Mammon is a fallen angel. Okay, Mammon is a fallen angel, but lesser fallen angel. It has like Beelzebub or Satan, or I discussed Tammuz, Dagon. He is not powerful like them. But Mammon is the symbol of greed. Mammon, in check your dictionary and you would find the meaning of mammon. Those who are greedy and those who are gold digger, who desires for more gold, they are called mammon. And here John Milton, in ancient mythology, we are going to get these types of character. And some say it looks like Agamemnon, as Agamemnon was also a gold digger, or it's from Egyptian myth, or it is also linked with Indian mythology, these types of things. But in John Milton's Paradise Lost, remember it, Mammon is a lesser fallen angel. He is also a fallen angel, but a lesser fallen angel, and he would do one thing. He would ask other fallen angels to dig hell. They began to dig hell in a belief that yes, definitely hell is also belong to God, and they believe if we dig hell, definitely we might find gold. That is the tendency of Mammon. I hope you understood. And is there any question? Ask me. Do you want to ask any question? Anyone? I here pause for 10 seconds, or you may write your question in your chat box, or we are going to discuss question number 7. Okay, I hope you have no question. Question number 7, we are going to discuss it. What is the name of the temple that rose out of the ground in hell? So before I discuss, I told you in my last class, I hope you remember, better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. This is a great philosophy. Rather, I don't want to be servant in God, servant in heaven. Rather, I want to reign hell. So I want to be master. I want to be master. I don't want to be slave anymore. And God is tyranny, as Satan believed, and he has no capability to rule the whole universe, as Satan believed. God has not these types of capacity, and they lost the battle against God. They they lost the battle against God, and they they now are ready to take revenge. But where they are going to take revenge, as Satan is these types of leader, and who is not ready to yield, who is not ready to bend. And that's why he believed, as we are living in hell, we are going to make this hell happen. And how we are going to make this hell happen? The facility we got in hell, in heaven, now we are going to build those things in hell. So that's why he made a capital, and he is going to made a building that is called pandemonium. Look at the line here. At pandemonium, the high capital of Satan and his peers means companion, peers means friends. At pandemonium, they are going to discuss, and here they are going to discuss, they are going to plot against God. But one thing you have to remember, here Satan is not here tyrant. Here Satan is democrat, because he was going to make a pandemonium like parliament. He would be the commander of that pandemonium, but he is going to listen to all. That is the thing. John Milton believed that Satan is not tyrant. Satan is not is not dictator here. Rather, he is democratic, as John Milton used to believe that people should give his opinion, their opinion, or vote, or like something like that. So the thing we are going to get, this is the outside of pandemonium. Usually the painters paint like this. So this is the inside of the pandemonium. Here Satan is commanding the all other fallen angels, but they are sitting here. Look at the other angels sitting beside the corner. That means it looks like a parliament, and they are discussing something, and he is looking for opinion. And look at the outside of Satan. Here the Satan is waiting to take revenge against God. So the thing is that here Satan is too much democrat. I told you that Satan has a great leadership quality. He has a great leadership quality, and for this reason he did not want to lose. And but he is not tyrant, and he didn't ask all the fallen angels like this, I command you. He never said that. Rather, he tried to motivate them. Satan tried to win the heart of the common people, common fallen angels, so they all feel they are all are important. So this is the tendency of a great leader. So do not confuse in this way. Satan is bad, Satan is bad. Never going to write in your book like this, Satan is something like that. In your last batch, I found a copy. He talked about, when this types of question was asked, she wrote that this is Satan, we hate Satan, these types of things, because they began to discuss from Bible, they began to discuss from Quranic Quranic point of view. So definitely we are not going to ask for religious point of view, but rather we are going to discuss the Miltonic point of view. So what is the story? This is the story, and it is something like that. So the pandemonium is the parliament, and it is the capital of Satan. And here he discussed and wanted opinion of other fallen angels. So this is the place of democracy. So here we do find the hell is the place of dictatorship, and heaven is the place of dictatorship, and hell is the place of democracy. So that's why John Milton preferred hell to rule by Saturn. You have to understand the step series. And the, okay, we are going to discuss the question number 8. According to Milton, what had many of the pagan gods been before the history of man? The answer is very simple. That means before he started the history of man, he began to discuss all the deities, especially the pagan deities. The pagan deities were the good angels once, and when they became rebellion against God, they became fallen angels. That is the thing. So here the understanding is, I hope you have understand the thing, and it is okay. Okay, number 9. What are the basic sources of Paradise Lost? I told you. We are going to discuss. We have discussed biblical reference. We have discussed Homer. We have discussed some points from Virgil and some classical literatures, Egyptian myth, or pagan history, pagan folktale, or ancient religions, or the Sumerian myth. These are the basic sources of John Milton, and he was the wisest of all English poets, definitely all authors, because he had read most of the books of his time, and even he had great knowledge in astrology and in science. And this is the what do you say? This is the poet who lost his eyesight for over reading. Can you imagine? John Milton is the only poet in English literature who had lost his eyesight for over reading, and the name of that disease was glaucoma. Glaucoma has a tremendous problem with the eyesight. Nowadays, it is not a big deal for the medical treatment, but in those days, in 17th century, it was a big problem. But doctors advised him not to read too much, and he used to burn midnight oil. Burning midnight oil means who read in the night or midnight. That means burning means he had the melting of candle. So he didn't pay attention to the advice of his doctors or physician. That's why he had lost his eyesight. And when you are going to read on his blindness, here we're going to find in his sonnet. That's a beautiful sonnet, one of the most beautiful sonnets of English literature. And definitely you are going to, if you read the Samson Agonistes, definitely you are going to see that the hero Samson became blind. So all those things, characters, are the reflection of John Milton himself. Okay, question number 10. What is the plan of action for the fallen angels and their leaders at the end of the book 1? Definitely the Satan's angels began to discuss in their capital, or that you said, pandemonium. Such a beautiful name, pandemonium, and it is definitely invented by John Milton himself. He is such a myth maker, and he had also coined. He didn't say the hell of capital of hell. Rather, he gave the pandemonium. Look at the name, and such a rhythmic pandemonium to discuss. And they are going to think that we cannot defeat God, as God is omniscient, and we are here in the pandemonium. Definitely, he is listening to us. So what kind of revenge we want to take, they discussed. In my next class, definitely I am going to discuss what was the results or outcome of that pandemonium. So that's all for today. And if you have any question, ask me. I'm going to take one question or two questions. We don't have much time. If you have any question, definitely ask. But let me know, are these questions understandable, or have you are you clear with the idea? Let me know this. Anyone? Nobody did respond. Definitely, yes. Someone say yes, sir. Oh yes, I got a couple of messages here. So the thing is very clear here. Definitely in our next class we are going to discuss the summary and the theme, and definitely that is going to be very understandable, because we have attended a couple of classes, and after Paradise Lost, definitely we are going to read some other text. So we want to end this class. Someone say question number 8. It's little bit late. We don't have much time. It would end right now. In my next class, definitely I'm going to discuss your question number 8. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Take care.